Welcome to this episode of Extravagant Generosity, where we reflect on how the practice of generosity impacts our communities, touches our hearts, and works for a more just world. My name is Andrew Warner, Generosity Outreach Officer for the national setting of the United Church of Christ. I'm joined by the Reverend Dr. Karen Georgia Thompson, Associate General Minister, Wider Church Ministries and Operations, and in partnership with the Disciples of Christ, co-executive of Global Ministries. Karen Georgia, when I engage in generosity, I see how my values affect the choices I make. That is, my giving reflects my commitment to work for a more just world. I'm wondering, in your work as a leader, how do you see generosity relating to our enduring values in the United Church of Christ?
So I'm going to speak specifically, Andrew, from my leadership currently for Wider Church Ministries and as co-executive for Global Ministries. And I think that's a place that's very reflective for me of values in giving. We in Wider Church Ministries have many global partners that we work with. We also work on behalf of communities that have been affected by disasters, and we also are responsible for the sustainable development work that happens in the United Church of Christ. Out of those spaces, what I have seen is our own willingness to step away from pre-existing models for doing this kind of work and moving into spaces that now speak more about mutuality, respect, and also speaks to the ways in which we are leveraging our resources with our partners. We are about critical presence, and critical presence means that all those things that I just named are important. We are journeying with our partners. We are giving in ways that are allowing our partners to leverage resources to provide the programs and the services that they need in their communities. So this idea of leveraging resources, of giving in places where need is evidenced, and that's in a variety of ways across communities. And also, we are giving in ways that allow us to be present with what our partners need. So we no longer dictate what programs or services need to happen. We're saying, what do you need and how can we be supportive of that work? Which is a little bit different than pre-existing more colonial or patriarchal models that have been utilized in around giving and programmatic support over the years, particularly with global partners.
That's really helpful to see, how it is that clarifying and discerning our core values has really shaped the whole work of Wider Church Ministries, from a patriarchal colonial model to one that's focused on presence and mutuality and equality and really a genuine, authentic partnership. It's cool to see how those values really inspire and shape the generosity that we express through Wider Church Ministries. What about in your own life? How do your own values affect your generosity?
So some of that is actually reflected in my own giving. More importantly, when I look at where I'm going to give, I look at the resources that are already available. So I want to make sure that my dollars are being effectively leveraged in doing, whether it's providing for communities, programs, services, any of that. That's important to me. I'm aware that when I give out of my pocket, that I am one of many co-creators, that I am giving in a way that says that what is produced at the end is far greater than what I could do by myself as one person giving to that program. I also look for impact. How does that program make a difference in the world? So the two things, the piece around global ministries and also about around my own giving, what it says is, for me, is how is our giving how is my giving impacting for a just world? When we say a just world for all, what can I do to ensure that that difference is happening? And I may do that, with a small gift here or there, but it contributes largely to a whole. And I think it's the same thing with Wider Church Ministries, that we're giving because we understand that we are creating a just world for all.
Yeah, thank you, Karen Georgia. I think that's really helpful to see how that value of partnership and presence and connection and collaboration can affect both our individual giving choices that we make and the collective effort that we do as the United Church of Christ. Is there a particular scripture story that guides you in that in your generosity?
So this may be a strange choice, but this is the choice I have for you, because this is something that resonates pretty largely with my spirit. And it's out of the book of Isaiah, where God says, I'm doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? Which is a question. And then it's, watch it spring forth. And I think that for me, my giving is about that new thing that God is doing. And I think quite often when we think about that new thing, we want to see something that's rolled out as new. And I don't necessarily experience it as that. I experience it more as opportunities that are present for us. And I intentionally use co-creators because God is creator. And so as co-creators with the divine for a just world, then what that says to me is the little bit that I do helps to bring about change in the world. And so so that scripture resonates with my spirit in a lot of ways around giving. Do you not perceive it? Watch it spring forth. And the do you not perceive it for me is an invitation into that new thing. And that invitation is about presence, it's about generosity, because generosity is beyond our pockets, so to speak, because generosity is also the time that we spend in prayer on behalf of. It's also about the ways in which when we have the opportunities, we can volunteer. So critical presence is more, and generosity is more than financial. And that's something that I just want to acknowledge in this moment as well.
Thank you, Karen Georgia.
You're welcome.
For those who are really wanting to engage that connection, that intersection between values and generosity, really invite you to reflect on what new things you perceive God doing in your community. To ask how your generosity expresses the value of presence. To wonder how it is that God is calling you to co-create with others the just world we all seek. And to wonder how your community lives as a place of critical presence in the world.